And also today is the disappearance day of Srila Jagadish Pandit. So we will try to, in the short time that we have, we will try to hear about them, about great personalities. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swaminti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'm just going to read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 10, text 85. Srila Prabhupada has summarized about the position of Srila Jiva Goswami and his life. He's given a short sketch about him. So we will read that purport and we will a little bit discuss about Srila Jiva Goswami. Taramadhye Rupa Sanatana Bhada Shaka Anupama Jiva Rajendradi Upashaka. Translation: among these branches, Rupa and Sanatana were principal. Anupama Jiva Goswami and others headed by Rajendra were their branches. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the Gaura Ganadesha Deepika, it is said that Srila Jiva Goswami was formerly Vilasa Manjari Gopi. So, just to remind ourselves that the acharyas in our sampradaya are not some ordinary personalities. They are very intimate associates of the Lord. So Manjaris are those gopis who very much render service to Srimati Radharani. So Srila Jiva Goswami is such a great personality who is very much always engaged in the service of Sri Radha and Krishna. From his very childhood, Jiva Goswami was greatly fond of Srimad Bhagavatam. He later came to Navadvipa to study Sanskrit, and following in the footsteps of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, he circumambulated the entire Navadvipa Dhamma. It's amazing. So we can know about the great personalities right from young age, how they are so much. The scriptures explain about their Anga Lakshana. Anga Lakshana means the bodily features, their interest into worshipping the deities and getting absorbed in Krishna Katha. So we can understand that these children are very special personalities. There should be, and we can see he was very much interested in studying the Srimad Bhagavatam right from young age. As Srila Prabhupada points out, after his studies, he studied under Madhusudana Vachaspati. After his studies, he started to travel. He went to Navadvip. He was in Navadvip studying, and actually it is mentioned that Sri Nityananda Prabhu personally showed him the places of Navadvip, all the different dhammas, different places, the different pastimes that is enacted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there is a book by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur called Sri Navadvipa Dhamma Mahatmya. So in that, the descriptions are based on the conversation between Srila Jiva Goswami and Nityananda Prabhu. After visiting Navadvipa Dhamma, he went to Banaras to study Sanskrit under Madhusudana Vachaspati, and after finishing his studies in Banaras, he went to Vrindavana and took shelter of his uncles, Sri Rupa and Sanatana. This is described in the Bhakti Ratnakara. So we all know that Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were their they were their complete guide, and he completely took shelter of them. He went to Vrindavan to take association of them, and under their guidance he was doing a great work. Specifically, he was working on with Rupa Goswami. Whatever Rupa Goswami was, whatever manuscripts he was preparing for the book, and Jiva Goswami was mainly editing it. He was doing so much service. So we all know before a book is being published, there is a lot of work compiling writing, compiling, and then putting it together, editing, and proofreading. So many things are there. So Jiva Goswami was doing the major part of work. He was assisting Srila Rupa Goswami, and also he was very much serving Sanatana Goswami. Srila Prabhupada continues. This is described in the Bhakti Ratnakara. As far as our information goes, Srila Jiva Goswami composed and edited at least 25 books. They are all very much celebrated, and they are listed as follows. So one of the, it is explained by Srinivas Acharya in his Sadgoswami Ashtakam, that the great Acharyas, they are called as Goswami because they have controlled their mind and senses, and they are engaged completely in the service of the Lord. This is one of their great qualifications. So in every line, Srinivas Acharya is offering his obeisances. Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugau Sri Jiva Gopalaka. For all the 6 Goswamis offering his obeisances. And he points out what is their mission. And one of the, actually all the 8 verses, what he is glorifying, it's apt for all the 8 Acharyas. One specific line which is in that verse, which very much suits Srila Jiva Goswami. He says, Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipuno Saddharma Samstapakau. That's a very important point. And we can know that the entire Gaudiya Vaishnava theology, the whole teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he gave to, he specifically instructed Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, and all those teachings, whatever books they gave, everything, the conclusion of all those teachings, Srila Jiva Goswami, he actually broadcasted that to the entire world. He was the greatest scholar of the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Even the great leaders and others who are well versed in the study of the scriptures, in other sampradayas, everybody knows Srila Jiva Goswami. So even there is an incident that in Melkotai, there are other Sri Vaishnava Acharyas, they Srila Jiva Goswami, immediately they remember him for his great works. We will just try to have a look at it, and the great contribution that he has given on the Shat Sandarbhas. We will try to a little bit discuss about that. Prabhupada continues, he just lists the books. There are so many books, at least we will know what are those books. This famous work called as Hari Namamrta Vyakarana. So he actually gave the Panini's work, he simplified it and he gave it as Hari Namamrta Vyakarana, and he actually replaced many names with the names of Vishnu. So you can see in those who have studied Hari Namamrta Vyakarana, they know that he has just to study the grammar, everything he used Vishnu's name. So in that way he made it entirely Krishna conscious. Although Vyakarana is not an easy subject to study, but he made it very interesting. Sutra Malika, Dhatu Sangraha, Krishnarcha Deepika, Gopala Viruddhavali. So Viruddhavali, these are some kind of poetry is glorifying the Lord. It's very, if you see the text, it's very poetic. The names that they have used. Srila Rupa Goswami has also done quite something. I like that. Jiva Goswami's contribution is Gopala Viruddhavali. So if you read those lines, poetry means actually when you read the poetry, your mind spins. In one of the commentary in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada writes that. So you will be amazed how they have composed it, and you need, like in today's world, you have dictionary, you have so many facilities to write something. You have ChatGPT, so many things. Nothing. It's all there in the brain, the total devotion. So they could compose with philosophical perfection and with brilliant poetry, and when someone reads the devotion, there is an overflow of devotion, and we can see how the acharyas with great love they have composed this. Dhatu Sangraha, Krishnarcha Deepika, Gopala Viruddhavali, Rasamrita Shesha, Sri Madhava Mahotsava, Sri Sankalpa Kalpa Vriksha, Bhavartha Shuchaka Champu, Gopala Tapani Tika, a commentary on the Brahma Samhita. So he has given a commentary to the Brahma Samhita, and we can see the Goloka chart. What was prepared was several references were made. One of the reference was from Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary on the Brahma Samhita as well. A commentary on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, a commentary on the Ujjvala Nilamani, a commentary on the Yoga Sarastava, a commentary on the Gayatri Mantra as described in the Agni Purana. A description of the Lord's lotus feet derived from the Padma Purana. So this, if you see in the Bhagavatam also, Srila Prabhupada's commentary, there are also descriptions about the Lord's lotus feet. So what are all the symbols in the lotus feet of the Lord? So that is, the descriptions are actually presented by Srila Jiva Goswami. So that is a book from the Padma Purana. And also he has given descriptions of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, Gopala Champu, in 2 parts. So we can see that recently also, the devotees were explaining about several pastimes on the Damodar Leela. There are so many descriptions about Krishna's various pastimes were given by Srila Jiva Goswami and Gopala Champu. And then the 7 Sandarbhas, the Krama Tattva, Bhagavat, Paramatma, Krishna, Bhakti and Preeti Sandarbha. We will come to that shortly. I will just go through this purport and then we will just try to have an insight of what is this contribution of Srila Jiva Goswami on the Sandarbhas. After the disappearance of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavana, Srila Jiva Goswami became the Acharya of all the Vaishnavas in Bengal. So Srila Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they were mainly the guiding force, and Jiva Goswami was serving them. And after their disappearance, the entire Gaudiya Vaishnavas, so Srila Jiva Goswami was a pillar, he was the main person in terms of Siddhanta, in terms of establishing Siddhanta, in terms of resolving controversies, in terms of accusations of the Sahajyas. They come up with so many various weird philosophies. Everything with proper pramana, with explanation from the Bhagavatam and the conclusions of our Acharya, Srila Jiva Goswami will always establish, and he will defeat all the misconceptions. And also, not only that, Srila Jiva Goswami was a very empowered personality. He was also very much to establish the Gaudiya Siddhanta and to spread the Gaudiya Sampradaya. He actually acquired lands. So in Vrindavana, he was the one who actually, when we went to Radha Damodar temple, that whole land actually, it was him who acquired it. He got the land, he took the pains of putting the agreement and like registering the land, and so many details he worked on. He was very much established, and he was actually also very in one of the purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada points out that he was very accommodative to all the Vaishnavas, very loving and very caring. In those devotees who come from Navadvip, he used to take care of them. He used to see that they got proper place to stay. He was very much concerned that they got proper prasadam, so that he was facilitating their service that they render in Vrindavan. So this it's again amazing quality that we can see. One may be very well versed when they are well studied, they have so much knowledge, a great scholar, but he was a very all-round personality who was also taking care of all these things. He was taking care of the management, he was seeing that the philosophy is intact. Deity worship in Vrindavan was completely under the care of Jiva Goswami. He was very much he very much saw that the deities are taken care properly, the worship, the standards are maintained, everything. It was Jiva Goswami who took so much pain to establish the proper mood and worship. So Srila Prabhupada continues, he says, Srila Jiva Goswami became the Acharya of all the Vaishnavas in Bengal, Orissa and rest of the world, and it is he who used to guide them in their devotional service. In Vrindavana, he established the Radha Damodar temple, where after retirement we had the opportunity to live from 1962 until 1965. So we know Srila Prabhupada took shelter of Radha Damodar temple of all the places. He just took the shelter there and he was meditating all his Bhagavatam purports and everything. The first 2 cantos, he actually prepared everything there. He was sitting there and he was begging for the mercy of the Lord. And that's where, so Prabhupada mentions that in his purport here. When we decided to come to the United States of America, when Jiva Goswami was still present, Srila Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami compiled his famous Chaitanya Charitamrita. Later, Srila Jiva Goswami inspired Srinivasa Acharya, Narottama Das Thakur and Dukhi Krishnadas, Shyamananda Pandit, to preach Krishna consciousness all over Bengal. So we all know that the Acharyas, they sent Shyamananda Prabhu, then Srinivas Acharya, and then Narottama Das Thakur. All of them came from different places, but they all took shelter under Srila Jiva Goswami. So they were all learning the Siddhanta, Gaudiya Siddhanta under his guidance, and Srila Jiva Goswami guided them. Not only that, he guided them, he inspired them to spread Krishna consciousness. We can see later Narottama Das Thakur went towards the Bengal and the Bangladesh side, and then we can see Shyamananda Prabhu with Rasikananda Prabhu. There was a big revolution that happened in Utkal, in Orissa. So he was preaching. And so like that, he was very much, he taught them the Siddhanta, and then they established the proper understanding, conclusions of the scriptures. He also inspired them to preach and spread the Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Jiva Goswami was informed that all the manuscripts that had been collected from Vrindavan and sent to Bengal for preaching purposes were plundered near Vishnupura in Bengal, but recovered. Sri Jiva Goswami awarded. So there's a big story that how the three devotees, how they had all that was the first book distribution party. So they were the one who actually started with the bullock cart, carried all the books of the acharyas, and then the books were lost, and then they were recovered. And so he was the one who inspired to do that. Srila Jiva Goswami awarded the designation Kaviraja to Ramachandra Sena, a disciple of Srinivas Acharya, and to Ramachandra's younger brother Govinda. Yeah, I think quite some devotees will know that. So we sing, Ramachandra Sangamage. So that is Ramachandra Kaviraj. And then also there is another devotee by name Govinda Kaviraj. So he was the one who actually appreciated their great poetic sense and the loving devotion with which they composed many songs. So he titled them. When Jiva Goswami was alive, Srimati Janava Devi, the pleasure potency of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, went to Vrindavana with a few devotees. Jiva Goswami was very kind to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the Vaishnavas from Bengal. Whoever went to Vrindavana, he provided with a residence and prasadam. His disciple Krishnadas Adhikari listed all the books of the Goswamis in his diary. Now, Srila Prabhupada in his purport also points out that how we can see from the lives of the Vaishnava Acharyas that they set example that how in the material world, how things, what happens in the material world, how there could be reversals, there could be accusations. Even a spotless personality can be accused. This is a great lesson for us in our life also. We may be practicing Krishna consciousness for whatever reason. We may be accused we may not have done any mistake, but we could be accused that how to face such situations. The Acharyas themselves have shown in their life. So Srila Prabhupada specifically points out that how Jiva Goswami was accused by the Sahajyas during his time. He was such a pure devotee, and who is he? Just Vilasa Manjari. But see what he underwent. And also we can see Krishna himself there. Krishna himself was accused, right? When Krishna was there, Shishupala and so many others, they accused Krishna. So that's not something new. And we can see here with the 3 points that Srila Prabhupada emphasizes in this purport. The Sahajyas level 3 accusations against Srila Jiva Goswami. This is certainly not congenial for the execution of devotional service. The first accusation concerns a materialist who was very proud of his reputation as a great Sanskrit scholar and approached Sri Rupa and Sanatana to argue with them about the revealed scriptures. Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, not wanting to waste their time, gave him a written statement that he had defeated them in a debate on the revealed scriptures. So they were, he was a very puffed up kind of a Digvijay Pandit who came there. So he was trying to argue with Rupa and Sanatana and said, yeah, you are great. Yes, we do not know anything. They signed, yes, we are being defeated, because they didn't want to waste time with him. So that happened. Taking this paper, the scholar approached Jiva Goswami for a similar certificate of defeat, but Jiva Goswami did not agree to give him one. On the contrary, he argued with him regarding the scriptures and defeated him. Certainly it was right for Jiva Goswami to stop such a dishonest scholar from advertising that he had defeated Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. But due to their Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. But due to their illiteracy, the Sahajiya class referred to this incident to accuse Srila Jiva Goswami of deviating from the principle of humility. They said he was not humble. They do not know, however, that humility and meekness are appropriate when one's own honor is insulted, but not when Lord Vishnu or the Acharyas are blasphemed. In such cases, one should not be humble and meek, but must act. One should follow the example given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya says in his Sikshashtaka, Tranadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishruna amanina manadhena kirtaniya sadaharhi. One can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Nevertheless, when the Lord was informed that Nityananda Prabhu was injured by Jagai and Madai, he immediately went to the spot, angry like fire, wanting to kill them. Thus Lord Chaitanya has explained his verse by the example of his own behavior. One should tolerate insults against oneself, but when there is a blasphemy committed against superiors, such as other Vaishnavas, one should be neither humble nor meek. One must take proper steps to counteract such blasphemy. This is the duty of a servant of a Guru and Vaishnavas. Anyone who understands the principle of eternal servitude to the Guru and Vaishnavas will appreciate the action of Sri Jiva Goswami in connection with the so-called scholar's victory over his Gurus, Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatana Goswami. Also, it's very interesting that one of the definitions of humility given by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because if we don't understand proper Siddhanta in Parampara, then we will not understand the proper conclusions and we may behave like a Sahajiya. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that to understand the conclusions of the scriptures in Parampara and neither adding anything nor subtracting anything and presenting it as it is, that is also, he considers it as humility. So when you are too intelligent and too smart, what you will try to do? You will try to meddle up with the philosophy. You may try to add something or subtract something, but that's not proper. And then you will end up as a Sahajiya or some deviant. So, and this is what happens, that you can find fault with pure devotees. They cannot understand what is the proper way by which to act and to understand it also. Another story fabricated to defame Srila Jiva Goswami states that when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami showed him the newly completed manuscript of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jiva Goswami thought it would hamper his reputation as a big scholar and therefore threw it into a well. See, what a craziness. Huh? Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was greatly shocked according to this story and he died immediately. Fortunately, a copy of the manuscript of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita had been kept by a person named Mukunda, and therefore later it was possible to publish the book. This story is another ignominious example of blasphemy against a Guru and Vaishnava. Such a story should never be accepted as authoritative. So it is not something new, these kind of blasphemy accusations. It is there in Parampara, even the great Acharyas have undergone it. So if something happens in the modern days now, so a devotee should be very honest and serious and just go on with Krishna consciousness, be honest to his Guru and other Vaishnavas. According to another accusation, Srila Jiva Goswami did not approve of the principles of Parakya Rasa of Vrajadama and are eternally married. So this is again another very interesting thing. So sometimes they don't understand. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he established that how Parakya Rasa is the conclusion. And it apparently appears that Srila Jiva Goswami supported Swakya Rasa. In this purport, Prabhupada very nicely he points out, let's read that, and it explains that why Srila Jiva Goswami had to do that at that time. Radha and Krishna are eternally married, showing that Radha and Krishna are eternally married. Actually, when Jiva Goswami was alive, some of his followers disliked the Parakya Rasa of the gopis. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami, for their spiritual benefit, supported Swakya Rasa, for he could understand that Sahajiyas would otherwise exploit the Parakya Rasa, as they are actually doing at the present time. Unfortunately, in Vaishnava and Navadvipa, it has become fashionable among Sahajiyas in their debauchery to find an unmarried sexual partner to live with, to execute so-called devotional service in Parakya Rasa. Foreseeing this, Srila Jiva Goswami supported Swakya Rasa, and later all the Vaishnava Acharyas also approved of it. Srila Jiva Goswami was never opposed to the transcendental Parakya Rasa, nor has any other Vaishnava disapproved of it. Srila Jiva Goswami strictly followed his predecessor Gurus and Vaishnavas. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraja Goswami accepted him as one of his instructor Gurus. The title, so this is the point. So this is, you can see even he underwent these accusations. Now just to, in 2 minutes, I'll just have a quick look at what is this great contribution that Srila Jiva Goswami has given. It's called as the Sandarbhas. Now it is generally called as the Bhagavata Sandarbha, because Sandarbha is it's like, you know, it's like it is explained that it is like stringing or drawing something together. Specifically, what he has done is for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the most important pramana, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. So the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that this is the most important pramana. What he did is, he based all the pramanas about the truths of the reality from the Srimad Bhagavatam. He compiled, or he collected those verses which established how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the real tattva? He established the real tattva. So he outlined it as 6 books, or he's called 6 Sandarbhas. Generally it is called as the Bhagavata Sandarbha, but then he established he gave different titles, and in each and every title he established the importance of how Krishna is Bhagavan, what is the position of the Paramatma, what is the position of, how Bhakti is superior, so like that. We will just see the titles and try to understand what is this all about. So the first one is called as the Tattva Sandarbha. So in that he establishes how Srimad Bhagavatam is the book, he establishes about Pratyaksha, Anumana, Shabda, and how of the evidence, the Pramana, Bhagavatam is the topmost Pramana. And based on that, he established the Gaudiya Siddhanta about the Achintya Bheda, Bheda Tattva, and how for the conclusions of the philosophical truth, one should base on Bhagavatam. Then the other one is called as the Bhagavat Sandarbha, which is again in that he establishes he takes one from Brahman, Paramatma to Bhagavan, how Bhagavan realization is the topmost. And then he also establishes that the Supreme Personal Deity, the worship of the Supreme Personal Deities of the Lord is established there. Then the Paramatma Sandarbha, so he clearly explains the position of the Super Soul on that. And then the Krishna Sandarbha, he actually gives reference from the Bhagavatam, establishing the supremacy of Krishna as Bhagavan. And then there is the Preeti Sandarbha, how the establishing pure love for Krishna is the topmost. And then there is also, as I explained to you before, the Bhakti Sandarbha, where of all the different processes, how Bhakti is considered to be the topmost process. All these things, he is not just speaking, but he is giving back and forth references from Bhagavatam, and he is establishing it. He puts a point and he refutes it, and he establishes how Bhagavatam is giving a clear conclusion. So that is why this work of the Sandarbhas is considered to be one of the greatest work, and we can see Srila Prabhupada's commentary to all his books. It's all based on the conclusions of the Acharyas, specifically Srila Jiva Goswami's these Shat Sandarbhas. So and we are indebted to the great Acharyas for giving this to us. And for us, if we study Srila Prabhupada's books with great conviction and scrutinizingly, we are getting the essence of what Srila Jiva Goswami has given to us. And also today is the disappearance of Jagadish Pandit. So I'll just quickly read about his what is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jagadish Pandit was the savior of the world. He was a monsoon cloud of Krishna Prema, pouring showers of mercy upon everyone. Jagadish Pandit and his brother Mahesh lived near Jagannath Mishra in Sridhar Mayapur. One Ekadasi day, baby Nimai was crying constantly. He stopped after taking Mahaprasadam rice in Jagadish Pandit's home. Then Nimai performed a miracle. Jagadish Pandit swooned in ecstasy upon seeing baby Gauranga manifest a beautiful form with a monsoon cloud blue complexion, shining like lightning and adorned with a shimmering peacock feather. So he showed himself that he is Krishna. He is not different from Krishna. After moving to Sri Kshetra Dham, Jagannath Puri, Lord Gaurachandra asked Jagadish to come help spread the Harinam Sankirtan movement. Taking Lord Jagannatha's permission, Jagadish Pandit took a deity of Jagannatha back to Nadia to worship in his village of Jashoda. So he went back, he was there with Mahaprabhu there, and then he went back to Navadip for preaching there. In Krishna's Nitya Leela, Jagadish Pandit serves as the dancer Chandrahasa, or a Nagapatni, wife of Kaliya. Srila Jagadish Pandit Prabhu ki jai, Srila Jiva Goswami ki jai, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sorry, it took extra time. Hare Krishna.